has expired. The question is that the motion be agreed to, and I'll give the call to the honourable member for Bennelong.
Thank you, Speaker. In May last year, this government was elected with a mandate to take strong environmental action. The Australian people understand the implications of what our environment and climate faces if we do not commit to implementing long-lasting and considered plans now. We must recognise that climate change is having an extraordinary impact on our country. We're seeing an increase in extreme weather events, and just last year we saw flooding across the eastern seaboard. We know that these communities continue to face consequences of these events. Thousands of people and communities in Lismore, the Central Coast, the Sunshine Coast are still displaced from their homes and facing uncertainty for their future. These extreme weather events are becoming more frequent and more intense. Nature has made it very clear to us through these deadly floods, storms and raging fires that we have to stop filling our atmosphere with greenhouse gases, and we have to stop doing it fast. After 9 years of climate change denial and inaction by the previous government, we stand at a critical juncture now to make that change. The chance to make incremental change has passed due to the inefficiency and inadequacy of the previous government. Unless we take action now, we face an accelerating climate disaster. That's why this government has taken its commitment to action seriously. We've passed the Climate Change Act through both houses. We'll implement the changes to the safeguard mechanism, and we have joined over 150 countries to commit to reduce global methane emissions across energy and resources, agriculture and waste sectors. Methane is one of the most powerful and harmful greenhouse gases to our environment. Over a 20-year period, methane causes 82 times as much heating of the atmosphere as carbon dioxide. Since industrialisation, methane concentrations have risen more than 150%. That's through an increase in coal mining, gas drilling and industrialised agriculture. Methane levels have continued to rise. In the last 2 years alone, we have seen record rises of methane in the atmosphere. The United Nations states that methane has caused 0.5 degrees of global heating. That's second only to carbon dioxide. As signatories to the Global Methane Pledge, Australia now joins 150 countries across the globe in committing to work collectively to reduce global methane emissions by at least 30% by 2030. Through working in partnership with key sectors, we will focus on research and development, investment and collaboration to work together to bring our methane emissions down. This government is making key investments and working closely with industry to support emissions reductions across high greenhouse gas sectors. Through the National Reconstruction Fund, which we know those opposite are opposing, we'll invest $3 billion to support investment in low-emissions technologies, component manufacturing and agricultural methane reduction. We've committed to investing $8 million to support commercialisation of low-emissions livestock feed through the Powering Australia plan. We'll provide $5 million in funding to develop technologies to deliver low-emissions feed supplements. Through changes to the safeguard mechanism by this government, we'll support emissions reductions throughout the sector. It will cover methane emissions from large industrial facilities and fugitive emissions from coal mines. Under these proposed reforms, each facility will see a baseline fall of 4.9% every year to 2030. Only this government will ensure that industry will carry their proportionate share of reaching our 2030 target, and only this government will ensure we stay on a path to net zero. We know the opposition will take any opportunity to say no. I mean, it's quite extraordinary to see what's being played out over the last week on superannuation. They'll take every opportunity to say no. We know they've said no to climate reduction. We know emissions reduction. We know they're saying no to the National Reconstruction Fund. They told us electric cars would take away the weekend. They're saying that by signing the pledge it's going to kill the barbecue, kill the weekend barbecue. They will say no at everything. But let's listen to the industry. Those agrarian socialists at the National Farmers Federation, we know how much they usually support this side of politics, which is pretty rarely, but they've come out and said farmers are already leading the charge on climate change. Australia now has a seat at the table, and if we look at these key trading relationships that we need to grow with the EU, they need national farmers to take action on methane and emissions reduction. We're leading the way in the world, and our safeguard mechanisms and signing this the international pledge will help us get there. Your barbecue's safe, your vehicles are safe, we'll reduce emissions.